You get used to it.
Huh?
You get used to it. I'm here all day.
I put it on
Going well. This is official.
Well, the others won't agree with it.
I've had them on the phone. Three sons. Yeah. The middle son and Bruce. In business together. Where are they? Are they? The eldest son. What's the business?
In belts.
Leather.
In leather, yeah.
Yeah. Look out, Captain.
No.
Look out, Rosie.
Much they did.
Well, here's the bullshit.
Gotta get the tree.
On the way up again.
Bridge over the top, man.
Okay, thanks very much. Promised me a long time ago when we were at Olinda, he took this photograph and he said, I'll fix you up with not photograph, he said, I'll fix you up with them one day. Well, I don't one day have it right.
Has he supplied it? He gave it to you, did he?
No.
Oh.
He's a busy man.
Am I out of your way?
Do you think you've talked
No, you know my way at all.
That'll take it.
You again. Who are you selling it to?
Just an informal welcome to today's luncheon, and if I can just let you know now that when you finished your soup, you're invited to indulge at the entrees and seafood bar up here, and then we'll get into the formal part of today's program. So thank you very much, and please enjoy your meal.
What's the soup like, Sue?
It's very nice.
Firstly, welcome to the 60th anniversary union for the Sembawang Association. Where's the relay with that? Okay. My name is Philip Morton, and hopefully the name Morton rings a bell to you. My father, Alan Morton, is the secretary of your association. Here. But there are more Mortons here. My mother Pam is here, and she over the, well, how long, 18 months, couple of years, have been stopping envelopes and putting stamps on envelopes, sending out upper cover. Also my lovely wife Sue is here, who ambushed you as you walked in.
Lovely.
To take your name and give out your badge, and if we also didn't get your money, you can please see Sue on your way around. Be helpful. Also my sister Catherine is here pointing a camera at me, which is very unnerving, and she will no doubt get video footage of you during the afternoon. I'm aware that a lot of you chaps haven't put up with each other in a long time, and the longer I stand here and talk, the less time you have to catch up with each other. So I'll try and keep things to the point and moving along. We'll try to keep the ceremony to a minimum. I would also like to say that your president, if you weren't aware, Bob Ruart was taken ill and couldn't be here today, for those of you who don't know. So I'll be asking your Vice President, Mr. Frank Bartlett, to take care of some of the proceedings. And in fact, I'd like to call on Frank firstly to conduct the stand to, and afterwards to welcome all.
Before I ask you to stand for our requiem, as you have just heard that Bob Rio, our president, had a stroke on Thursday. George Wren has seen him and says he's not in a very good condition. So if you would bear with me as acting president, I'd be very grateful. You can't hear or you can? You must be deaf. Hey, you're over 80 years of age, I know, Bob, and you, Jock, too. Could we all stand for our requiem, please? Today, on the 60th anniversary of the commencement of the war against Japan, Japan's armed forces, we remember those men and women who died in the great tragedy of that war, fought for the freedom of mankind. We salute the memories of the men who fell in the defence of Malaya, of Singapore, and of Sumatra, and the hopeless cause of Java. We remember also our comrades who died in Japanese prisons and labour camps, and those lost at sea on the way to the imprisonment in Japan and Manchuria. We recall with pride all staunch friends and allies who died beside us. Not forgotten are those who have since succumbed to the ravages of age and war-caused disability. We grieve for all who have died serving our common cause. May we and our successors prove worthy of their sacrifice. Whilst you were standing, could I call on Jim Porteous to say the ode?
They shall grow not old, as we who are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the use of them. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them. Lest we forget.
Thank you, Jim. Be seated. Rid ourselves of the requiem. May I invite you to enjoy yourselves, because this is to be an enjoyable luncheon. Tomorrow is our day of remembrance at the shrine, and I would all like you to have in your minds that we start at 3:15 at the shrine, just a short service of approximately half an hour, and then we wander across to the Centre Motel, which is just across the road from the shrine, for afternoon tea. With the physical disabilities that they have. Ross McConaughey is one of those. Spud has defied airline hassles to be with us. And by the way, just on Spud, in this morning's Australian, the Weekender, he looks a bit grumpy in the photograph. Spud, I didn't take that one. I would have said smile, please. But he is in the paper. So if you would like to get that, I'll stay. Continue on with the wine. I think he bought the airline. He's keeping it under his wing. Keith Neighbour got leave from the City of Churches. Thanks, Keith, for being here. Vic McMinn, Ray McMillan and Helen, Mick Green, Jim Porteous from Interstate. And you may see on the wall there, you New South Wales members, we've honoured you with a special board of photographs taken at your big do this time exactly 12 months ago. It is good to see that some widows and family members of departed members are also present today. Brenda Evans? No, Brenda's not here. Mavis Graham? And Thea Johnson. Welcome all. Enjoy the day and make yourself known to those who have not previously met on other association gatherings. I was to give a special welcome to Ken Munro, but I don't think Ken's here, is he? Thank you, and enjoy the rest of the day. There will be some more words spoken by different people. So enjoy your lunch.
I'll give you all colors. Let me say how pleased I am to be here. And I'm sure those who are with us think like me. Our witness season if I can possibly I have great memories of all great friendships that I made while in the services overseas and have continued to do so since then. My good friend on my right has severe disabilities. It was only a last minute opportunity for them to come here tonight. I'm sure we all have a very enjoyable afternoon. It's fun to be with you. So thank you for allowing me to speak. Thank you.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, would you please charge your glasses? I will now give the royal toast to Queen Elizabeth, or Queen of Australia. To Queen Elizabeth.
You have to sit down. You weren't listening, were you? Gee, they're rude of you. Yeah, it must think we're very rude for sitting down. She must be deaf too.
Bloody hell.
That was quick, wasn't it? He's deaf too.
I can't find anybody.
I can't find anyone today. Making a noise over there wherever he is. He wasn't before, was he? No, neither were the two behind you.
Home Cross. And he's kindly agreed to be our speaker for this reunion. He needs no introduction to all of you, but for some of my younger people here, including myself, I haven't met Spud before, and I'm looking forward to hearing what he has to say. And he may, and I haven't checked with him, I'm sorry, he may take some questions at the end depending on how he feels. I'm not sure.
You don't know who's been licking the thing, though, do you? I'm not going to make this of any length at all. In fact, looking round the room, half of what I was going to say I can't say because there are ladies present. Nevertheless, it's great to see such a big gathering. By my standards, this is as
probably about second size to any other I've seen. Other than the early days when we used to have everybody there in the old, up in, I think it was up in Russell Street suburb, we used to have our meetings. And we had another one down at the old Callow House in St Kilda Road once, where we had 400 people there. I think most of them were ringing. Nonetheless, this part of the world I can remember from when I was a kid. I had to push my bike up that bloody hill, and it was a gravel road in those days, and I can remember on one occasion we couldn't get back down again because a darn fire had got behind us. But this part of the country is a very, very beautiful part of Australia and of Victoria. People here who I don't think I've ever met before. I apologise for that, but having met them, we welcome. Other people, of course, I've known for years. I sat next to one all the way up here in the bus. He used to be my bloody electrician. Apart from him, I don't think there's any other member of my crew still alive. Other than, I think I told the story once before about an engine fitter we had whose name can remain anonymous. And the only reason we liked him was because he had knock knees. And when you came in taxiing late at night with only the headlights on the aeroplane, you knew exactly where to taxi because old Hobbo was still standing there with his teeth knocked together. The other people I will remember is Bizarre Beast was one of them, and of course the members of my own crew who I got to know pretty darn well. We even understood all the words we used when we were swearing. That was a long, long time ago, and I hope those guys, wherever they are here in this room in spirit anyway. It's been a wonderful occasion for me to come back, not to Melbourne. I don't welcome coming to Melbourne. We can see the football much better in Canberra, and we can take a choice too. My favourite team, of course, has always been Hawthorn, and what the hell they've done to them, I don't know. But hopefully, if we have any more of these, and I can afford it, I'll be here. Thank you all very, very much for coming, and thank you particularly to the committee for organising it so damn well. And I think a hand together for them. For those last few words, I will say amen and goodbye.
Like mash, isn't it? That's what they say in mash.
Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me very great pleasure to put in a vote of thanks to Spud Spurgeon. As you know, he comes from Canberra, and it's not easy as we get older to travel all these long distances. I think the Air Force made one mistake. Spud retired too early, because had he not retired, I'm certain we wouldn't have seen a new Chief of the Air Staff. But thank you so much for coming along, and we hope that you'll be able to attend our reunions for many years to come. Thank you.
Was made by a company called Lockheed, and Lockheed in later years merged with a company called Martin, who also made aircraft for the Rodder. Lockheed Martin these days make many things, including spacecraft. They made one a few years ago which they gave to NASA, and NASA launched it, and it crashed into Mars, which wasn't the idea, and it led to a little bit of head scratching at NASA and at Lockheed Martin, and they found out that NASA used metric units and Lockheed Martin used imperial units in their measurements, and there was a slight discrepancy which ended in disaster. But I think I can now introduce to you a man who's written a book which was reviewed in the last upper cover about the Hudson Lockheed, and I think I can say in introducing David Vincent that it is one of the finer imperial aircraft designed with imperial measurements. David, over to you.
Mr. Deputy President, Mr. Deputy President, Mr. Secretary, to our distinguished guest,
A bit closer.
Okay, sorry about that. I'm just thanking everybody, referring to everyone who was mentioned earlier on. Look, my interest in being here today, I guess, primarily is to tell you about a book that I've written. Phillips just mentioned earlier that I have an interest in Lockheed Hudson's. Back in the early 1980s, I decided I would do a history of Lockheed Hudson's in RAAF service, or in Australia particularly, and RAAF service. So here we are, 2001, it's around about 17 or 18 years after I decided to take this project on. The first book came out a year and a half ago, and there's a second volume to follow. And in this first volume, it does include reference, a long chapter refers to the operations of Lockheed Hudson's in No. 1 Squadron and No. 8 Squadron. Along the way, I've had a lot of assistance from members of the association. I've got a list of names here. I hope I mention them. Don't leave any of them out. We've got Gunnar Anderson no longer with us, Bob Bamber, Apple Blake, Claude Brown, Murray Childs, Dave Colhoun, Jack Branner, Curly Davis, Smokey Douglas, Don Dowie, Ed Dyery, Les Easter, that was the bizarre beast you were mentioning before spoke, Fred Foote, Ted Gabriel, Mick Green, who's here today, Bob Hart, Paddy Heffernan, Pete Henderson, Dusty Hensel, Jeff Hitchcock, Jack Hopgood, Doug Howie, Peter Jackson, Jake Jacobson, Tony J, John Lower, Alan Morton, who's here today also, thank you Alan, Herb Plenty, Russ Rayson, who's here also, thank you Russ, Robbie Robertson, no longer with us, Doug Scott, Spud Spurgeon's here today, Russ Swanson, Noel Thompson, Bob Thompson, Colin Burko, and John Wright. Now, and we've got Ray from 205 Squadron who's here today as well, so we haven't forgotten you, Ray. All these people have helped out along the way, and I thank you for your assistance in doing that. The book is available from me today if you want a copy, $50, it's normally $55, it's a hardback book. I hope people will regard it a bit higher than the History of the Carlton Football Club that Spud referred to earlier. $70 for 35 sounds like a pretty good deal, but mine's $50 and it's an even better deal. It's a hardback book, a lot of pages, I can show you later. If you're interested, come and see me. If you're not interested, that's fine. It's lovely to be here with you today, and thank you for keeping me in mind with your book, with the reviews of my book. And I hope to hear more about the association in the years to come. I've got all your newsletters too. They're great. Thank you very much.
I'm not sure what you're going to bid, Frank. Bid high, bid low. Come and tell us what you're going to bid. And I think that's my part finished for the day. So thank you for your attention, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the day and have a good Christmas. Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, I do understand that some of those who are a little bit further away, including myself, that it's sometimes hard to...
You're doing the same thing.
Hello. It's hard to hurt, so please excuse me. I have a copy of that book that he just spoke about. But could I just remind you all that in the book there is a great episode of the Hudson in Malaya. You must read it. It is good. But do you know that we have a Hudson? There are only 6 Hudsons left in the world, and in Australia we have the only one that's flying. And it's at Coolangatta. The Coolangatta Airport in hangar 1415. Nick Ben and myself were lucky to climb all over this thing in August of this year. Now the owner of this Hudson has already given one of them to Canberra. It's a static, it doesn't fly, but the one he has in Coolangatta flies. And last Anzac Day, that's this year, yes, this Anzac Day, he had an open day for anybody who was interested in Hudsons. And quite a few went there. I understand that Aussie Diamond was one of those. What a wonderful name. You know, you say, I belong to the Sembawang Association, and people say, what in the hell's that? It's a strange name, but for us, and for some of us who were there a couple of years ago, I think it might be 5 years ago. Spud, how long was it? How many? 5 years, oh not bad, 5 years ago. Sembawang is a very, very modern town. Outside the main gates of Sembawang is the most delightful settlement of 2- and 3-story mansions. They have a country club somewhere where the pool was. So Sembawang is as well as good. Not including me, but before me, our presidents and secretaries. Now, could we go through the presidents? I can't remember, but I understand that Frank Wright was our first president. Then I can remember Jerry Alden, Gentleman Jerry. That's when I sort of got involved. Gentleman Jerry Alden. Then we had Paddy Heffernan. Dear old Paddy Heffernan. Right? A man with a great history. Then Ken Munro, Dick Evans, and our president is Bob Rio, which you have all heard is in a serious condition with a stroke. Now secretaries, in our 50-odd years, we have only had 4 secretaries. Could you imagine that longevity, these secretaries? Doc Gridley. Can you all remember Doc Gridley? We call him the godfather of the Sembawang Association. Now he was the godfather. He spent his whole life on the Sembawang. I understand that he was secretary for 46 years. 46. Alan, you have a long way to go. Long may you live.
Under 40 years, yeah.
You do forget a few things, so if you would bear with me, we got up to Doc, who had 46 years, and somewhere in this room there is the last photograph taken of Doc Gridley. So if you have time, have a look around at the photographs. After Doc we had dear old Peter Wright. Peter Wright was secretary for about 4 years. Then we had Alec Ross. Stand to attention while I mention Ross of Malaya.
Yeah.
A wonderful man with a bold personality who made his job easy. And if you can imagine talking to Alec, he would say a piece of cake and get on with it. Secretary. And with your acclaim helping me, give him a little clap. Alan stands no nonsense and gets on with the job. We all know Alan's knowledge and capability when we eagerly wait to read the latest episode. This is solely written and edited by Alan. And if you, and I know you do read the stories that he puts in it, what a lot of research Alan has. As a matter of fact, we are more than fortunate. We are blessed to have Alan and his computers. If you ask Alan something and he can't tell you right away, just a sec, I'll ask the computer. And he has got it. I am determined, like the rest of the committee, and on behalf of our President Bob, I would like to assure you that with Alan at the rudder, this ship is sailing quite well on rough waters, but it's sailing with a very good rudder. I'd also like to congratulate the committee members who are here today.
Als we zweetjes café nemen, maar niet als alles aan. En straks nog eens groter staan.
Ladies and gentlemen, are known as the slowest cowbell player of the year. I heard you play before, Prince, but before we start playing, let's get the atmosphere. Can we hear some cow noises, please? He upset.
Hey, I heard an old bull over there.
Yeah. And I also heard a couple of sheep noises like that.
I know, Gretel.
Now everybody move, let's hear it.
Not for fun? No. Well, it's done a good job. Terrific. I'm only proud of I'm just proud of the fact that if it's me that wrote you, it's your job. But not from the wife. I sought him out and asked him if he would be interested.
Was it you, Fred?
Came back to the committee and said, look, I know Alan Morton very, very well. He's very capable, and if he's asked, if we want him, he'll do it. So he's got the job.
Fantastic. Well, we thank you. We love doing it, Fred.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you'd like to take a little piece of the Cuckoo atmosphere home with you, we have got a CD out. It's called the Cuckoo Souvenir CD. And it's available.
Just a tool. Headquarters dismissed. I tell you what, Fred. You want dessert? I know, we've got them out there. Yeah, see what I'm saying? Is it? Oh, you
Toby did it. That was really good. I got Johnny to speak.
Thank you.